I've been wanting to do a daily news gathering, a daily news show of sorts. Be probably good for me to get it out of my head because all the bad news that Republicans are going to be giving us for the next 4 years is going to fill my head, and I need to get it. And I want to be another voice for on the side of democracy and on the side of justice and law and order and a concern for the rights of women and the environment and to have less guns, not more guns. Yeah. It's funny. You see this shit, these idiots, commentators talk about what do the Democrats stand for? It's really easy. Not wanting to destroy the environment and ignoring that the ocean's rising, caring for the rights of and the safety of people who are in such small numbers that without a collective concern, they can be bullied, intimidated, and affected by lots of things. Thank you, love you. But before we get into the bad news, which is going to be every day, the one thing I can predict is there's going to be bad news every day, and every day the bad news will be even worse. The Republicans will be doing something stupider than the day before, something more atrocious, something more vile, something more corrupt. And they've done so much already. They're on a mountain already, and they're going to go straight to Mount Everest. So, if I talk about it every day, then maybe I can sort of cover it because it needs to be addressed literally daily. But first, let's talk about Kendrick Lamar. That Super Bowl totally got me into Kendrick Lamar. I knew of him. Looking back when he was up there with 50 Cent and Snoop and all that, and it was like, who's this upstart guy? But he was no upstart. That guy got a Pulitzer Prize in 2018. My God, he's a poet. What was impressive was all the people who knew all the lyrics to all his songs, like verbatim, watching those reactions. And all the symbolism, I didn't know who Drake's last two girlfriends were, now I do. So does everybody, SZA and Serena Williams, apparently. And there was some symbolism there that nobody's talked about. So that's why you come to my news program here, because I won't talk about what nobody talks about. I'm gonna see between the lines. No. So this is the ad for the show, right? This is Kendrick Lamar's black and white ad, these marchers right here, right? And right now we're living in a time of 1984 where the administration is trying to say that war is peace and right is wrong, and they're renaming things, and they're trying to destroy education and change our history, and it goes on and on. Okay, so we're living at a time, 1984, and those prophetic words at the beginning of Lamar's set, where he talked about the revolution will be televised, and the right time and the wrong guy, and of course that could be interpreted as Drake, but also as President Trump, and so just lots of layers, symbolism, but nobody talked about the 1984 metaphor. See, for those of you who don't know it, in 1984 there was this ad starting out with these marchers in black and white, and then they marched down the tube. I don't know what I can show you or how that all works, but I'll just leave the stills up there. But this is that ad in 1984. Now that ad is studied by marketing, advertising, media people, has been ever since it was created. It was a game-changing advertisement, and it was pretty intense. It was in 1984. For those of you who don't know, it was a Macintosh, an Apple Macintosh advertisement, and it was all about 1984, the dystopian world that we're now starting to live in, where we have a type of Nazi regime that has thought police, and black is white and right is wrong, and whatever they say goes, and they just brainwash everybody. And anyway, so that's that one, and then that's that one, and this is very reminiscent of 1984, but no one's talked about that. And the entire show, you look at the whole thing through that lens of this is a comment on 1984 and all that's going on in the world. I think that's a fair one, because I'm guessing that around Kendrick Lamar, if not, I don't know what he studied. He probably studied some marketing advertising. He's probably studied that ad himself, but if not, he's got people around him that have degrees in advertising, marketing, media, and they've studied this stuff in college. This is like top of the list of things that those kinds of people study, right? Because it was such a game changer. So, and it was a Super Bowl event, right? It's an event in advertising and marketing, but part of Super Bowl history. And so is Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. It's probably the best of all time. I love all the people doing the dance all around the world. It's so cool. And I love how the pussy insurrectionists hate it. The white supremacists just hate it. Oh God. Yeah, because you guys all suck and you don't know what it means to be cool. Cheers to you, Kendrick Lamar. Good job, my friend. And yeah, if you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, freaking awesome. I am totally now. I let musicians be good for a little while before I start to really buy in. You know, music that's good is music that's still good 5-10 years later, right? So I just wait, and this guy has bubbled up and surfaced as an all-time great. You know what I mean? So I'm stoked to discover him. I'm starting to watch his videos. I'm curious about all the meanings and all. I mean, there's just it's fascinating. So. Pulitzer Prize too, man, that's cool in literature. So that's the only cool good news. I think the rest is bad. All right, where do we start? Oh my God, so much to talk about. It's so bad. Okay, so Caroline Leavitt, she is an example of stupidity. A Republican woman who just says whatever the Republicans tell her to say is the truth. It's a fact that the name of the Gulf, that the area of wherever is now the Gulf of America is a fact. No, it isn't. Nobody is. It's never going to be a fact. No one, unless there's some idiot, is going to call it that. What are we going to do? Change the name of New Mexico to New America? Don't be surprised if that's next on somebody's radar. Oh God, it's embarrassing. Anyway, she's embarrassing. Which she reeks of privilege and just gross privilege. I don't know what her story is, but she just worse than 100 times worse than Hillary Clinton ever did. Oh, anyway, and then how about the other dipshit recently? I saw Lena Hobbit. Habit, who is she? Whatever. The attorney for Trump. She is such a dipshit, but she's just injected her lips so big that it's as if she took LeBron James' lips, you know, off a 6'8" black man and just stuck those on her face. It looks so out of place. You know, LeBron James' lips look great on him, but they don't look very good on a little 5'2" white girl. All right, and that girl should stop going to a plastic surgeon. Wait until you're Jane Fonda's age, okay? All right, and then how about Jesse Waters? Oh my God, every time I see a woman, which is so often, with eyeliner, all I do is think of J.D. Vance. The guy with eyeliner, he is such a fucking weirdo. And God, Jesse Waters too, what a pussy. Ugh, and a weirdo. He's wearing the same crap. It's noticeable eyeliner. It's like, dude, again, uncool. There is not one Republican that has any cool thing about them. There is no Republican that I would want to have a beer with or hang out with or have a conversation with. If I have a podcast, if this becomes a popular thing someday, whatever, the last thing I'll ever do is give oxygen to a Republican, traitor, an insurrectionist supporting racist Nazi. Oh my God! Let alone like Candace Owens, a black Nazi. um, oh, and then there's this slime ball, the chief of staff, Stephen Miller. My favorite thing, and you gotta look for this. He's so gross, but oh, and he just reeks of a poor guy that just got the shit kicked out of him and teased so brutally that now he wants to take it out on the whole country, just like Trump. But when he talks, he's such a slime ball. He's got this tick. Every time he says something that expresses like how powerful he is and how he can just say what he wants and he has the power to be a shithead, right? He's got this tick. Yeah. He looks to the left. Yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, he's so gross. And just, I mean, and like I think his parents are immigrants, and he's just super, he wants to deport everybody, or his parents' are, or something. I don't know. Gross. How about this? Trump says he wants to wipe blue states off the map. All the states that contribute all the money to the federal government. They don't make money off the red states except for Texas. That's the only one that contributes anything. And man, that's interesting. So on a side note, here in Hawaii, I can tell you what you can expect. This is reading between the lines. You're gonna hear, because there's already a nice sentiment here to not want to be part of the United States, right? It was illegally stolen, and in a mean way. Didn't need to be. They would have just happily cooperated with the U.S. and been a territory, and all things would be the same, except they would have their culture still, and their queen and line of succession, and yeah, you're gonna see locals be like, oh yeah, we'll be happy to secede from the union and become a sovereign nation. You know, if they don't want a blue state, right? And that's right. Do Republicans really want to not have Hawaii in their country? Do you realize how lucky we are? I mean, so that's gonna be interesting because I'm gonna watch that play out. Guaranteed. How about Alabama? The two top employers in Alabama are a Weapons Depot, number one, and the National Institute of Science, doing research to save America. And they're both government agencies that are getting all their jobs cut. So Alabama voted to just screw itself. Hopefully they won't be that stupid in the future. Hopefully. So here's the interesting thing, though. With all these people being fired, right, brutally, and the worst thing about it, if you don't know this, the way they're all being fired is with prejudice. Like they're being told that they're poor performance, right? So that could impact their ability to get unemployment, which is mean as hell, and may affect their ability to get new employment because their last job said they were fired for poor performance, right? Which is a lie in every case. It's just mean, and unnecessary, right? Okay, so now these people, I mean, hell hath no fury like a woman or a federal worker scorned. And they're all scorned. Oh, and what a douchebaggy thing. Tell me what you did last week. If you haven't heard, he sent out a message. Everybody said, hey, what did you do last week? Anyway, okay, so, and all the federal workers, in addition to some of them being just dangerous in their own right, 30, I would love to lie to you, and I was thinking I should just start lying like Trump, in the opposite for the sake of good. Say it's 50%, but 30% of all federal workers are vets. So this is just a total, shot to the kneecaps of veterans in our country as well, who also, some of which will possess lethal capacities. But imagine he's firing CIA and FBI guys, some of which are trained snipers, and pissing them off and giving them a grudge and taking their livelihood away and their jobs, and then there's all these savvy lawyers and people that understand how to work the system, and they're going to be suing out the ass. And there's just so much corruption. The shit with the New York mayor is so blatantly corrupt. I wonder if the line that they wouldn't cross, partly, like if they were, I mean, there was the legal stuff too, but also if there was some racism in there, which is often part of the Republican Party, right? Like, Adams is a black guy and he was a Democrat, right? So I could see a conservative attorney, which there have been 7 who've resigned over this. But they're like, I can't allow you to just make favors for a black Democrat. That's just crossing the line. Anyway, I digress. At least these attorneys had the wherewithal to not go against their oath to serve the law, and boy, Pam Bondi is scary and stupid. And Cash, please call him Cash Yap. Cash Yap Patel, that is his name. Why doesn't anybody call him by his name? Obviously, he was teased growing up with that name. And here he is, wanting to hurt everybody because he was teased. Cash Yappity Yap, I'm sure it was his childhood. And that could be at the root of all of this, all that abuse he took growing up here with that name. So, gee whiz, heck. So yeah, let's see what happens with the. I mean, they're suing, they're using their skills to sue, and but Trump has totally corrupted the judiciary and the senators. What's amazing to me is that none of them are getting a spine. Nobody cares about our country in the conservative party, right? The justices and all these terrible senators and House of Reps, Republicans, are just shittiest people ever. I mean, to just allow your country to be destroyed by your own party because you don't have a spine to stand up for what's right. It's amazing. I mean, I can't imagine being that much of a shitty person. So if you haven't heard, women's rights are being attacked, of course, as we expected, and we now know how it will take shape when they take a woman's right to vote away. They're gonna say, unless you can, your birth certificate's got to be still your name, right? And otherwise, you're gonna have to prove otherwise, and your vote's not gonna count. So any woman who's changed her name for marriage's sake is gonna have a hard time voting, which is a great way to eliminate a huge block of women voters in our country. And yeah, Republican women use their right to vote to lose their right to vote. It is so sad. So you'll hear more about that, I'm sure. This guy, Russell Vogt, who's the Office of Budget and Management, or Budget, the author of much of Project 2025, the Nazi manifesto that the Republican Party is working with. He is truly evil, and he has expressed that it's his goal to terrify all federal workers and bureaucratic workers, to not want to even come to work, right? To terrorize elected officials to make it so they don't even want to do their jobs or show up, right? He expressed this quite clearly. That's his goal, right? But I have a feeling that he's going to be the one terrorized by Americans who just aren't going to take this for very long. I think hopefully there'll be some unity in wanting to keep our country from getting destroyed by some effing Nazis. By the way, this is a really cool place, the Bud Shack in Maine, a dispensary in Maine. It's great. Legal weed is great. All right. Proud Boys can't use their name anymore. If you didn't know, it was legally taken away by a church. But I don't know if it's true. Amazing. They found a new name. They can now call themselves the Ashamed Girls. So, Proud Boy sure was a gay name for a bunch of guys that are afraid of gay people. Of course, we can look forward to women being brave, because that's what they do in our country, braver than the men. Everywhere you see it. Cassidy Hutchinson, Liz Cheney, just brave women, all these Democratic women, AOC, just brave, right? Having to deal with the threats of these degenerate, un-American insurrectionists, inferiorists. They're the saddest bunches of shitheads ever. Yeah. And now these shitty people, we call them Republicans, they're going to destroy veterans benefits, Social Security, children's benefits. The food I've been getting after the fire, the one place at school that's been helping me out is being canceled. So it's affecting me in a small way, but it's affecting other people in a large way. I expect there is going to be some reaction, right? And but then that is, of course, also what the Republicans want. They want crime and disorder. They want protests in the streets that get violent so that they can crush them and then have to say, oh, we got to have martial law. That's the end game. And military parades, douchebag. I think he just brought it up again. You could see it coming. You knew he was going to start wanting his military parades. And now that he has a whole bunch, he's firing freaking all the good military personnel that we've cultivated over decades because he's an idiot and wants to put us at risk. And it's breaking America's heart. It's making, and he's now on the side, he's put America on the side of Russia, China, and North Korea. Oh my God. It's hard to imagine being that stupid, isn't it? Oh, and of course we're seeing now, protests and stickers like the one I took a picture of that says what it says on the cover of this thing here. And how about Canada? Canada boycotted red state products. I love that. Specifically. And hey, I don't blame you, Canadians, if you don't come to our country. Of course, you're smart enough. See, Canadians are way smarter than Republicans in our country. They can distinguish, right from wrong, and it's not their goal to so much punish the blue states as it is the red states. So if they're going to go on vacation and they're headed to California or Hawaii, they might actually keep their vacation. If they're headed to Tennessee, they're like, fuck that, man. Or Louisiana, or Alabama, Florida, Mississippi. Yeah, they ain't going there. Anyone that would have come from Canada to vacation in your red state ain't coming there for sure. And they might not even come to Hawaii, but I have a feeling they might make an exception. And then that protest in Yosemite, if you didn't see it, up on El Capitan, when the light hits the water just right off this waterfall, it looks like fire. And park rangers, can you believe it? No Republicans want our parks to operate. You don't like our national parks. You're not proud of our national parks like the rest of America is. Real Americans are proud of that shit, and we want it to be open because we want to use it. We want a toilet that works and a trash can that exists. And so, yeah, I assume that no Republicans like our national forests, and that no Republicans wanted to keep their price of prescription drugs affordable. Oh, and they're going to take away your tax deduction on your interest on your house. That's going to screw a lot of people. Obviously, none of those people are going to be Republicans. There are no Republicans counting on Social Security. Thank God, because just the Democrats apparently are smart enough to vote to keep their Social Security, but you weren't if you were a Republican, so obviously you don't need it. Let's see. If you're a Republican with children, you didn't need a school, right? A public school for your kid, and you didn't need your kid to get a free lunch at school, of course, and you didn't need them to have that Head Start program so you can drop off early and so they can stay there late in case you got a job. You didn't need any of that because no Republicans needed that. No Republicans need Medicare or Medicaid. They don't need health care, right? Thank God Republicans don't need health care because they didn't vote for it, right? Amazing. The only time Fox News ever showed real news was on January 6th. And it's the only time they acted like reporters, right? Before they started spinning it and tampering with it, I had to show it live. And that was interesting. I think people generally are finally seeing through a lot of their lies. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I can't imagine being dumb enough to ever believe any of their lies. And that's the normal conversation on the streets of America. Can you believe how stupid these people are? How could anyone, let alone like a bunch of people, be that stupid? The guy's not even a good con man. I mean, he's a terrible con man. He isn't even smart. And people just, he likes to fire people, right? And if you thrived on his show that thrived on hurting people, like he's doing right now, he's thriving on hurting people. That's what his whole show was, firing people, right? Humiliating people. And that's what all of his fans were just drawn to love. Yeah, not me. That was gross. It was a gross show. Anyway, what else? I think I covered all the things I want to talk about. All right, that's the god-awful news. And every day there's going to be more god-awful news. So it's going to be easy to source it and deliver it to you. And there's so much more. I mean, Gaza, the West Bank, if you want to go there, Ukraine, the shit with Putin, Pete Hegseth. There's just so much shit effery. so much tomfoolery. Everyone's getting shanghaied. By dumb, white, racist asshole, predominantly men, but some women, which are so hard to understand. Why would a black guy vote for the people that want to hang him? Why would a Jew vote for a Nazi? Why would a woman vote to lose her rights? Why would a Latino vote to get shaken down in the streets and deported to some country, whether they're a citizen or not? I don't know, but let's hope that doesn't happen next time, because we really need people to wake up. All right, this is the list. Thanks for sticking around. This is the list of all the companies. This Tell the People with Sunny and W1 is the channel, I think. Yeah, Tell the People. These are companies that donated to Project 2025 and Donald Trump, either entirely or in a extremely disproportionate manner, according to Tell the People with Sunny W1. And of course, in addition to this, I'm trying to decouple myself as much as I can from all the businesses associated with the four guys sitting behind Trump at his inauguration, the three wealthiest guys in the country, by staying away from Facebook. Although, what if I try to branch out on that? That's the thing. Blue Sky, that's got to be my second one. It's got to be that. But all the different social media platforms. God, I am tempted to try to tap into Twitter and Facebook, but it's also and um, yeah. So because yeah, I mean this platform right here is one of them. So it's going to be hard to decouple from everything. Amazon, of course. I already never use Amazon, but I wonder how many people are out there going say, you know what, Jeff Bezos, you can suck it. I'm not going to use Amazon anymore, which would be good for your local economy if you don't realize that, and for you to get out and go shopping. It's good to get out in the world, you know. So get off Amazon and try to avoid Facebook and yeah, and of course, no one wants to buy a Tesla anywhere in the world now, and that is going to be sweet revenge. All Tesla products are just going to be, but don't vandalize. I was just talking to a guy who's like, my wife and I, we bought a Tesla 6 years ago. We didn't know that the owner of Tesla was going to become the worst person in history, you know, and like, it sucks because we can't afford to get rid of the car. We need the car. Now that it's paid off and they're, saving money on gas. And so don't vandalize people's cars, okay? They didn't know he was going to do this. But, you're seeing it. I know a girl who bought an electric car and she made sure it wasn't a Tesla. She just bought it. So that was indicative, I think, of how many people are approaching this. So, and then of course I'll never watch a UFC fight ever again. Dana White. Don't ever want to hang out with that guy. Nor do I want to hang out with Joe Rogan. I'll never watch Joe Rogan again. What a disappointment he became. I once heard him say something about caring about women's rights, and I thought, okay, he's got his head screwed on straight. And then he went right from there, which makes no sense. And his show, as soon as he couldn't smoke weed because he moved to the one state you can get locked up for smoking weed, dummy. Why would you do that? It would be never safe to leave your house. And if he ever gets raided, it's just another thing they can imprison him for. Anyway, and his ass kissing of the Attorney General of Texas and giving a platform to all those right-wing freaking traitors. Oh, gross. But I did love some of those interviews, man. Paul Stamets, the mushroom expert, that guy was pretty amazing, and a few others. Anyway, so this is that list. In case you haven't memorized this, process of doing this is good for me because it helps me memorize it. So I'm doing this for me as much as I am for you. Again, this comes from Tell the People with Sunny and W1. All right. Companies in the United States have been known to support Republican Party through donations, sponsorships, or public endorsements. These businesses often align with the party's pro-market policies, lower taxes, and deregulation stance, though many businesses today are increasingly cautious about public political affiliations due to changing consumer expectations and political climates. TikToker, hear me out on this, okay, I guess the source that they got it from, made a list of companies that made large donations to Project 2025. Source, Goods Unite Us and Open Secrets Donor Lookup. Okay, so that's the source, where it comes from. Here's the list. AutoZone, Ace Hardware. We have Ace Hardware here on the west side. I will now make sure I go to the other side of the island to go to one of the other two, Lowe's or Home Depot, unless one of them's on here, instead of going to my local west side hardware store, which is Ace Hardware. Oh, right there, number 2, AutoZone, Ace Hardware, Allegiant Air, Arby's. There are a lot of fast food restaurants, and there's 3 on here, 4 of them. So, I can avoid them and go to the others. Like, I don't think Jack in the Box is on here. So Arby's, Armor All, which is full of chemicals. Ashley Furniture, Bali Underwear, Bausch and Lomb, Big Heart Pet Brands, Bike Athletics, Molson Beer, Coors Beer, Brooks Shoes, the Buffalo Bills. Not all sports teams supported politicians, but a couple of them just supported Project 2025. And this is gross. I mean, gross, right? Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Wild Wings, Buick Cadillac, Carl's Jr., Champ Clothing, Hanes Underwear, Chevrolet, Cinnabon Cincinnati Financial, Con Air, Cuisinart, Dairy Queen, Dirt Devil, Discount Tree, Dole Foods, Exxon Dudley Sports, Farberware, Florist, Folgers, Fruit of the Loom, fruitbouquets.com, Fry's Electronics, Geico Insurance. I do plan on changing my insurance. I use Geico, and when I get around to it, maybe in this next cycle, I'll be jumping ship because of their support for the Nazification of our country. That's what Project 2025 is. It's a Nazi manifesto. Cuisinart, Dairy Queen, Dirt Devil, Discount Tree, Dole Foods, Exxon, Dudley Sports, Farberware, Florist, Folgers, Fruit of the Loom, fruitbouquets.com, Fry's Electronics, Geico, George Foreman Grill, GMC, Hardee's, Hellsberg Diamonds, Home Goods, Hendrick Motorsports, Hobby Lobby, Hoover Vacuum, Horizon Bank, Keller Williams Realty, Legs Pantyhose, Las Vegas Sands, LL Bean, Maiden Farm Underwear, Marshall's, Martin's Famous Pastry Shops, McDonald's, Miller Beer, Milwaukee's Best Beer, Molson Beer Company, Mobile, I think that's T-Mobile, My Pillow. Oh man, I got to get a new phone provider. Oh, all right. That's me a hassle. Miller Beer, Milwaukee's Best Beer, Molson, Mobile, My Pillow, of course, Napa Auto Parts, New Orleans Saints, New York Yankees, Norwegian Cruise, Old Dutch Foods, Oric Vacuums, Purdue Farms, Playtex, Public Storage, Railvac, Schlotsky's Shell Oil, Sierra Trading Post, Slumberland, Soma Intimates, Balding, Stanley, Black & Decker Hardware, Star Furniture, Stiletto Tools, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, The Popcorn Factory, Toastmaster, Tractor Supply, Wendy's, Wynn Resorts, 1800flowers.com, Smucker's Products, Publix, Act Fluoride, Procter & Gamble, Baskin & Robbins, Charmin, Omni Hotels, Wow Cable, Arizona Diamondbacks, Chiquita Brands, Jimmy Dean, Motorola, Papa John's, Walmart, Young Brands, Gaming Sports Products, Alamo Rental Cars, Hershey Products, Anthropologie, Bacardi, and Bluebell. All right, and those are the companies to never use. However many years you're on this planet, I'm never gonna go to McDonald's or Arby's or Carl's Jr. ever again, or drink Coors, or a Molson, or anyway, and so on. You get the point. Oh man, I'm tired. I got up in the middle of the night, essentially, super early in the morning, you could say. And thanks for letting me share my Kendrick Lamar theory with you. I think it's quite plausible. I do believe there was some intentionality there and some knowledge of the past when fabricating the trailer, which was a hint for the overall big picture. If you stood back and just looked at the whole tapestry, I think it was all a statement to the dystopian world of 1984, which we are suddenly being launched into by these un-American traitors that are taking over the White House and the judiciary and the Senate and the House of Representatives, thanks to a wholly uninformed public. Nobody knows anything anymore. I'm in school, I'm in college, nobody in my class knows anything. None of them watch any news, not one of them. I'm the only person in the class that knows anything, and I watch all the news. And that happened since I was like 6. Anyway, it's kind of funny. But what drew me into the news was, first of all, TV was always on in my living room in the 70s and the 80s growing up. And what drew me into the news was the election in 1976 of Jimmy Carter, him versus Ford. My parents were Republicans, so I grew up in a Republican household, believing all those lies. And once I learned how to read and listen and think, I began to see all the lies in the Republican Party. But that was when I was a teenager. But really into my early 20s, it unfolded. And so I understand people who are dumb enough to be Republicans. You know, you might have been raised by some and listened to any of their lies and bullshit. But yeah, my dad did his country a disservice by just blindly voting for Republicans his whole life. My family was a bunch of famous Republicans back when they were associated with freeing the slaves. But now the Republicans are associated with wanting to make slaves again and women slaves. I am proud not to be associated with the Nazi Republican Party. So it is just sad what they've done to themselves and our country and what we'll continue to do. And that is the god-awful news for the day. Won't be hard to collect up a whole bunch of other new shit for tomorrow, because there's gonna be a whole bunch of terrible things between now and tomorrow. I promise you that. It's the only thing I can promise you, is that there's gonna be a lot of bad news. But I'll try to give it to you in a more pleasant way. And for you dipshit Republican traitors out there who don't understand how America really thinks, well, tune in here. And it might go against all the propaganda that came from Russia that fed through. Oh, what if Trump was turned as an asset, a KGB asset in the 80s? And what if Melania is a plant? And what if the whole thing has been just 2 spies that got into the White House twice? Sure looks like that, by the way. He's performing right now in the political hemisphere. Anyway, all right, or ecosphere, whatever the right word is. God bless America. And all you nice people from other countries. We're all just people on this planet. It is this stupid thing Americans do is got to stop, and that is us thinking, or anybody thinking, they're better than anybody else, right? It's ugly when the caste system exists in any country around the world, whether it's India or here or whatever, right? Thinking that you are somehow more entitled and privileged than any other human being to, you know, the basic freedoms and rights that all humans should have, which are all freedoms and all rights. You know, power to the people. So, all right. And if I can grow this, then maybe I can lead this into getting into politics myself. I would be happy to take on the fight myself. I have what it takes. I got the perfect name for it. A great family history that's probably a little more American than most people's in Congress, whether that's here or there or good or bad. I've got a pretty cool family history that is woven through every chapter of American history. So, and here I am weaving into this one. All right. Once again, thanks for watching the God Awful News with Craig Hamilton Bradley. Do no harm, do no crime. Thanks for watching All Good Things and All Good Time. Love you guys. All right. Aloha.